Okay, now I had to kind of work my lever a little bit to get those pieces to sink into the right position. Once I did, that snapped in there. I think we are good now. So let's go ahead and reinstall the cap screws on the cover. And then we will move on to installing the pump and the linkage. Let's spin these guys down real quickly. When it fits together, it snaps in place very securely. And these screws don't really have a lot of pressure on them. They're just holding the cover in place. Okay, I think we have everything right this time. So we get these sunk in and we will move to the linkage. I think also, and I know I am going to, this is a really good time, if you haven't done it before, to go ahead and take a peek at that video again, make sure everything's in place as it should be, and to make sure that we have the proper orientation for the pump handle or the operating rod, which looks like it's going to go right there. And we will be going ahead and sliding our pump handle on in this orientation. So let's go ahead and do that stuff now. Now, okay, as we saw before, the kit comes with two pins, an 18 millimeter and a 20 millimeter. To connect the linkage, as they call it, we use the shorter pin, the 18 millimeter. They're the same on both ends. So we will go ahead and bend that back a little, slide that into place. And then I'm going to go to the edge of the table or counter to go ahead and tap this through. Get them all lined up like that, and resting it on something that you can go ahead then with the hammer and just lightly tap that piece home, which we'll do over on our counter here. Okay, that fits in there just like that then. You can see here that we're flush on both ends and the linkage is able to operate. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is slide the pump arm or the pump handle onto the Jet 1. And as I said before, there is a kit available for the Jet 2 as well. And we do that, we want to go in this orientation with the protruding portion to the rear. And that just slides over here. I may need to move it off camera to slide it on, which I will need to do to get a good grip and orientation on it. But the pump itself actually just slides into grooves in the receiver here. Let me get it in there just a moment. You can see we've got it started there. I had to pry those ears just apart a little bit to get them started. And then now we are mounted on there. This drops into the grooves right here to give it a nice guide back and forth. So we flip it to the forward position, bring it back and line it up with the linkage. And then we take our longer pin that was included with the kit and go ahead and tap that through. Get this lined up properly with the holes there. Go ahead and go to the edge of the counter to support that. Maybe we can do that here. Oops. There we go. All right, we're good now. I think we are. Make sure I am hitting that hole. that? Oh, let me confirm I got this up tapped in right. I may have gone upside down at the breech end. And I believe I did. Okay, I think I've got my linkage installed upside down. I need to flip that over so that I line up properly there. My mistake, guys. Okay, now I have my linkage flipped around. For proper orientation, this protrusion or ridge on the linkage needs to go to the outside, and the fatter portion needs to go down towards the bottom of the air gun. But having it lined up now, we should be able to go ahead and insert our linkage through the front. There we go. Fits in quite easily this time. If you do what I did mistakenly, you have this ridge running against the inside and it wants to push the linkage out a little too far to line up with the hole. So now we should have it in position. Let's go ahead and see if we can cock it. It seemed to be cocking fine. One of the things that Buck Rail recommends is to use this with the suppressor installed. This hand grip leaves your hand right at the muzzle, and it would be awful easy to get a finger in front of there, which would be very not good. So let's go ahead and put a suppressor on there and give her a try. Oops, I'm sorry, we did that out of frame, didn't we? Okay. Now that we have it installed, part of the advice from Buck Rail is to only use this with a suppressor installed. With the pump handle out here at the end of the pistol, your fingers are just begging to get in front of this muzzle. So with a suppressor on, that's not going to happen. And I do agree that is a much safer way to run this particular add-on. So let's go ahead and get a suppressor out. Personally, I've had great luck with a Donnie FL Tonto that I like to run on this air gun. So have the Tonto right here. We'll go ahead and thread that on there. And it looks like the adapter is in the box. Let me get that as well. One of the things I really like about the Hatsan Jet 1 and Jet 2 is they do come with this very cool adapter, muzzle adapter, to convert you to a 1/2 by 20 standard airgun suppressor thread, like the Donnie FL and many others are designed to work with. So we'll go ahead and thread that onto our muzzle. Got that tight. Let's take it off safe. And do we fire? No, we don't. So we're not actually cocking. Why is that? Okay, what did we do wrong here, kids? Oh, let me go back and take a look. That seems to be in place. We seem to have our throw right, but we're not going all the way back to cock. Is this in the way? I might have to check that and see. I didn't see anything about it in the instructions, but it almost feels like these pick rails are not letting us go back far enough. So let me check out the instructions and find out if that's what's holding us up. Okay, I did check the instructions, and yes, Buck Rail has found that there are some variance in the size of the accessory rail that comes on the Jet 1 and Jet 2, and on some guns you may need to remove this, and it just has a single screw with a 4mm Allen key on the bottom. I'll probably go ahead and put that screw back in there to keep it, but on my gun, I did have to remove the accessory rail so that I could cock all the way. And it gives me that little bit of room I wasn't quite getting to go ahead and cock it, and then I can get an accurate cock each time. So next thing we'll do is take this out into the field and try it out. But looking at it right now, it functions very well. Really excited to use it. I fire mine with a suppressor on all the time anyway, so there was no loss there by the safety recommendation. I like it like that, and as he says, you can also get a grip forward there with your suppressor on. In terms of the accessory rail, I was not using mine anyway, but it would not be difficult at all to go ahead and shorten this just a bit. You might be able to get away just with taking that piece off. I think it'll give it enough room, and you'll keep that slot, but worst case, you could lose that slot and still be able to use the rail. So that went on pretty easy, and the kit seems to be very high quality. I've heard great feedback on it, so I have high expectations. And yeah, I think it looks cool, functions well, much faster shooting than using the side lever. And yeah, I really like it. So I will report again from the field. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Al's Airguns, and we will see you on the next one.